Hi, I'm Greg from Pivot Stove and Heating. If you're in the market to buy a wood heater, it can be quite confusing about everything you need to learn and everything you need to buy when you're looking for a wood heater. When you're looking for a heater, the 5 things you need to know is you need to know about your wood heater. You need to know about the flue kit, you need to know about the hearth, the flashing and the installation. And we're going to run through all 5 points now so you know exactly what you need to know when you're looking for a wood heater. The first thing we're going to talk about is your wood heater. And probably the first thing with your wood heater is about sizing the heater correctly for your home. Now, when you buy a wood heater, all the manuals, all the brochures and all the marketing, they highlight the heater at the absolute maximum heat output. So this particular heater here is a great heater. It has a maximum heat output of 20 kilowatts. What the hell is a kilowatt? Well, a real way to explain this, 1 kilowatt of heat heats 1 building square or 10 square meters. It's a really simple way of putting it together. On our website, we have a calculation of how to size your home correctly by dividing your height of the ceilings, your width of the room, the depth of the room, then dividing it by 14. That will give you your kilowatt rating you need for your home. Now that's getting the technical way, but a real simple way is when you're broadly looking around for wood heaters is if this heater says it'll do 200 square meters or a 20 square house in my old terminology, that's at full noise. Whatever the manufacturer says the heater does, halve it. Like your car at home, your speedo may say your car can do 200 kilometers an hour, but you don't drive at 200, you drive at 100. A wood heater is exactly the same. You'll never want to buy a wood heater that is going to heat it at the maximum heat output. All you're going to do is feed the heater. By having a heater sized correctly, you're going to have the air control perfectly well set, beautiful glowing red embers, and your emission levels or the smoke is going to be pretty well nothing. So sizing the heater is very important to get that right. But your style of heater also affects that too. Did you know there are 3 types of wood heaters on the market? You have a radiant wood heater, a convection wood heater, and a fan-forced wood heater, and they're very different. A radiant heater works like a glorified pot belly, where the outside of the heater is actually the firebox. And the benefit of a radiant heater is the temperature and the softness of heat coming from the whole heater is a beautiful soft heater in the house. The negative to a radiant heater is clearances, because that is the firebox and absolutely you can't put anything close to it. You'll notice that when you look at the specifications of the wood heater, that radiant heater requires a massive clearances from the side, which means although they may be a small looking heater, this is going to take up the same room as a 3-seater couch. A convection heater means it has cool sides. Now the benefit of cool sides is 2 things. The manufacturers designed that heater to push the airflow up through the sides of the heater and bring it into the room. And having cool sides, you can put your clearances a lot closer to this heater. So although these 2 heaters are very similar sized, you'll see the convection heater here, we can put your clearances a lot closer to this heater. And it's going to take up almost 1/3 of the space. Now, convection heaters will run perfectly with no fan. And it's interestingly, overseas, a lot of manufacturers don't put fans with their heaters. It's a very Australian thing, we must have a fan. So a convection heater means that it'll run with no fan, but if you want to add a fan to it, go for it. A fan-forced heater is something very different altogether. Some manufacturers have fan-forced heaters, and what that means is the heater must run with the fan on. And they do that for multiple reasons because they want to get the most amount of heat from the heater. They don't want the heater to overheat. And there's nothing wrong with that style of heater, but you've got to choose. Do you would like the heater on with the fan all the time, or are you going to have a ceiling fan in your house, which is going to distribute the air? There's no wrong answer for this. It's just finding the right heater for your home. Now you've got the manual in front of you, or you've got the brochure, and now they've got all these technical terminologies. And I want to run through the 2 technical terminologies in every single manufacturer's brochures. That is emissions and efficiency. Now, I'm putting this very simply. What emissions mean is how much smoke or how much carbon goes in the atmosphere. Now, every single wood heater is tested exactly the same. So the benefit you have is when you're shopping around, is you are shopping for an apple and an apple. So this wood heater here, when they've tested this heater, for every kilogram wood the heater is burnt, it's going to produce 0.9 grams emissions. Well, the Australian standard says 1.9. So anything under 1.9 is brilliant. So if you're a little bit like me and very environmentally conscious, you want to find a wood heater that has the lowest emission levels available. The lowest I've ever seen on the market is this pyroclastic heater at 0.3. Amazing, really low. It just blows vapor, no smoke out of the heater at all. But the emissions is one thing. The efficiency is a very different conversation. The efficiency means is how much heat or how much energy am I going to get out of this wood heater. You'll find the average wood heater sits around 62% efficiency, which is a great number. But if you're comparing a wood heater between 62% and 72%, for every 10% you find better is equivalent to a trailer load of wood a year in your amount of wood you're about to save in burning. So if you've got a wood heater between 62 and 82, well, that's 2 trailer loads worth of wood. So in my opinion, you want to be looking for a wood heater with the highest efficiency you can get, which means you're going to burn less wood, it's going to save you a lot of money, and more importantly, it's a lot better for the environment. The other most important thing when you're looking for a wood heater is also to do with your clearances. Now, the manual in every wood heater will give you a diagram which shows you the different clearances which this heater is tested for. A combustible wall is a plaster wall or a timber wall. A non-combustible wall is a brick wall. So whatever you put your heater into, the clearances on the manuals have to be abided to. If you do need to reduce your clearances behind your wood heater, you need to put a heat shield on the wall. Now, the Australian standards do have a whole way of building heat shields. You can build one yourself, or you can buy pre-made heat shields by Vlaze. These are English-made, beautiful vitreous enamel double heat shields. They clip onto any wall, and what they do is they can reduce the clearances of any wood heater on the market by up to 80%. Most wood heaters in the market can be installed as close as 100 millimeters or 150 millimeters from any combustible, plaster or timber wall. So you don't really need a heat shield unless you want to reduce the wall clearances. No matter which brand of wood heater you're looking at buying, you obviously want to find the one which looks right for your home and styles correctly, and more importantly, it's got the features inside the heater which is right for you. So you want to go shopping on the heater and look for that, but while you're shopping, choose between a radiant convection fan forced, choose the right size heater, but more importantly, find a wood heater that has high efficiency and low carbon emissions. You're going to burn less wood, it's going to be better for the environment. Point number 2 is your flue. This conversation is something a lot of people skip over. They spend all the time researching their wood heater and let's add a flue kit. Stop. Now, on the marketplace, the actual appearance of the heater is very simple. The flue is what you're going to see in the room, and there's all different looks you can get. You can have plain stainless steel, which will give you that rustic, earthy, very country look as it changes colour for the coppery brown colour. The other option you can do is you can have your stainless steel flue on your heater painted. Now, plain stainless steel flue is fantastic. You get a lot of heat from the flue and it's a very clean looking unit. But you'll notice on the marketplace, this part on the back of it, this is called a heat shield. Now, what a heat shield does, it protects the wall behind the heater from the heat coming from the flue. Another way of doing a heat shield on the flue is what they call with Decro Mesh. Now, Decro Mesh is something very common in Victoria in particular, where you can have this particular mesh finish on the outside of the heater. Now, the patterns of the mesh will change depending on where you buy it from. Some are straight lines, some are angle lines, some are clover lines, but either way, it's a mesh. And you'll notice the back part of the mesh, see how it's solid? That is your heat shield. Now, there's pros and cons regarding having exposed stainless, having painted stainless, or having mesh stainless, but at the end of the day, it's the look which is right for your home. But the most important decision is the type of flue kit you're about to buy. Now, here in Australia, you can choose between an air-rated or what commonly known as a triple skin default flue kit, or you can choose an insulated room seal flue kit. The benefit of a triple skin flue kit is these holes in the drop box bring air from the room and it sucks right up between the different triple skin flues and it cools the triple skin flue as it passes through your roof cavity, making this heater safe to be installed in your home. The second type of flue kit is an insulated flue kit. Now, insulated flue kits are the most common flue kits used in the most coldest environment through Europe, UK, Canada. And the massive benefit for insulated flue kits is there are no holes around the drop box, which means there's no air cooling the flue down. It's insulated. Now, that air which passes through a normal default flue kit is going to use 400 litres of air per minute. That's heat your heater's made, rising off the heater, being lost through the flue. With an insulated flue kit, there is no heat loss because it's insulated. And the benefit for you is you're going to save 8% in your running cost because that's 8% more heat you're going to get in your room, which is traditionally lost through a flue. But don't rush out and just add a flue kit to it. Do your research. Is an air-cooled flue kit right for you? Or if you're building a new home, you really should be looking at the insulated flue kits. It's better to keep your star rating and your efficiency high in your home. Point number 3, this is the flashing what goes on your roof. Now, this is a really simple decision because you really don't have a lot of options in a way. If you have a tile roof, or a slate roof, you need what they call a lead flashing. Now, we don't use lead anymore in the industry. The lead flashings are called aqua lead. It's actually coated in a rubber coating. So when your installer installs the flue and flashes the roof to stop the water coming in, the water coming off the flashing is not touched with any of the lead, and you can drink the water coming from these flashings. So just ensure that you do get an aqua lead flashing if you have a tiled roof. So if you have a corrugated roof, being zinc loomed, being galvanized, being decking, being ColourBond, whatever you'd like to call it, a tin roof, you're going to need to buy what they call is a Dectite. Now on the market, there are multiple brands available of these, but the main difference is coming down to what they call a bell rating. Now what a bell rating is, if you're in a high fire zone area, bell rating flashings are designed for people who could get ember attack on their homes during a bushfire. But if you're like me and just live down in the burbs and you've got your wood heat in your home, your normal number 7 or number 8 Dectite is right. Now Dectites do come in different sizes depending on the pitch of your roof. So if you have a high pitched roof at 45 degrees, there are different size flashings you can get on the marketplace to suit your home. It's very important that you tell your salesperson the angle of your roof, and they'll ensure that you get the right size flashing for your roof pitch. Now, no matter what heater you buy in the marketplace, the fourth most important thing you need to know is the hearth or floor protection. If you have a polished concrete floor or a tiled floor, your floor is technically a hearth. You do not require to put another hearth on top of a concrete floor, or more importantly, a tiled floor. But if you do have a floating floor, a timber floor or carpet, you need to put a hearth down. Now on the marketplace, you can buy pre-made hearths. They come in multiple sizes and multiple finishes. The main 3 types on the marketplace, it's a tiled hearth, a slate hearth, or a glaze hearth. Now, a glaze hearth is a vitreous enameled hearth. These look stunning, very classy. Now, interesting information. Did you know it's illegal to put a glass hearth on a timber floor? Now, the reason for that is if an ember did fall out of the heater and fell on the glass, even though it's not going to burn the floor, the heat from the ember will transfer through the glass and damage the floor. So before you rush out and you put a glass hearth down on a timber floor, you want to talk to the manufacturer, have it in writing that they're also going to approve and warrant the heater if you put a glass hearth under it. But you will find that most heaters on the marketplace, it is illegal to put a glass hearth under that wood heater. Now, if you don't want to buy a pre-made hearth and you do want to make your own, there's nothing stopping you doing it. Follow the manufacturer's instructions, which is in the manual for the heater you're about to buy. They will advise you the thickness of cement sheet you need to put down and the minimal thickness of tiles or slate you want to put down. But more importantly, just don't put it down on the floor. Have your installer come out first and check where you want to put the heater is not under a major roof beam. The last thing you want to do is have to move the hearth after you've already put it down. The fifth most important thing is very personal to me, is having a qualified registered installer to install your heater. I am a qualified registered plumber. I have over 10,000 installations under my belt. I've put a few wood heaters in, and it's really important that if you do get somebody to put your wood heater in for them, that they are qualified. The most important thing, you want them insured, so if anything does go wrong, you are covered. Now, every state in Australia has different regulations. Some require licensed registered plumbers, some require getting you a permit, some allow you to do it yourself. But my advice is talk to the company you're going to purchase your wood heater from. Good, reputable heating companies will give you, or if not even organise an installation for you, or if not give you contacts that you can organise it on yourself. If they just say jump on the yellow pages and find one yourself, maybe shop somewhere else for another wood heater. You want support, you want backup, and that's what you're going to get when you get a registered installer, be recommended or organised through your hearth store. So if you're looking to buy a wood heater, these 5 top tips are going to help you get the terminology right. Check out the wood heater, check out your emissions and efficiency, and get the style and the benefits you want with your wood heater. Don't rush into the flue kit. Stop and ask questions about the colour, the styling, the finish, and is you an insulated or non-insulated flue for your home. Get the flashing right. If you're in a bell area, put the right flashing in your home, and more importantly, get the hearth right. A beautiful hearth will really highlight the area the heater's about to sit on. And think that if I'm going to come in with a big armful of wood, where am I going to put it down? A good sized hearth allows you to put the wood down next to the heater, keep your tool sets nice and close. But most importantly, get it installed correctly. Get a licensed, qualified installer, and make sure that your home is going to be safe and warm for many decades to come.